What is going on, guys? Welcome to another market update. In my last video on my personal channel, I talked about Bitcoin building a nice and bullish upward sloping bull flag, which made it possible for Bitcoin to poke its first hole into this last remaining resistance zone before the all-time high itself. We're now getting our first breather after the falling wedge breakout, but everything is still looking very good so far. What we want to do here is maintain as high of a support level as possible, while resetting some of the overbought technicals. Maintaining the price level above previous resistance would be the most ideal scenario, because that would mean not even forfeiting the strongest resistance zone to the bears, even temporarily. This scenario would look very similar to this one over here, where we continue to build higher and higher lows above previous resistance. If we fall lower, however, there are still multiple support zones we can defend for a bullish outcome. I myself remain quite optimistic. Now let's look at our power law indicators, starting with the Bitcoin power law bands. As you can see, we were building some support on top of the exponential bubble projection here for quite a while and getting some nice interactions with the line. But now we broke below it again, and this was completely normal and expected, as I stated in my previous video. We will probably see all kinds of interactions with the line and breakouts below and above it multiple times in this cycle, but what really matters is us reaching the projected top when we're supposed to reach it, because that will give us the best predictability for when to exit. Now to the log graph. Everything is still looking very good. We're right on track to our bubble projection top toward the end of the year. And we're much closer to fair value than the 25% blue trend deviation line down here, and let's hope it remains that way. Then it would look similar to this scenario over here. Overall, this structure here is still very similar to this one over here, so let's hope for this move next. Now to the Bitcoin power law clock. We finally did it, guys. We hit 10 o'clock. In fact, it's 10:01 right now. That means less than 2 hours left until our projected bubble top. We're still coasting very nicely parallel to the average red line over here, and we'll likely still cross the orange line quite soon, maybe this summer or so. But once we coast below this line over here, most likely we'll start catching up to the projected peak over here, and then hopefully reach the top by December or so. Now to the Drenched Oscillator relative to price. We're still very close to fair value over here and in the yellow zone. What we really want to do here is avoid a scenario like this over here where we rejected off the fair value and then went down a lot. But I honestly don't think anything close to this will happen. Any correction here will most likely be very small. And after that, we're gonna most likely start seeing some lighter oranges, then stay in the dark orange zone for more than a year. Now to the local Hurst exponent. Okay, what we want to do here is build a very prolonged peak, something similar to this over here. This would be the ideal scenario, would it not? Because otherwise, if we start dumping here fast, that would likely correlate with a dump in Bitcoin as well, a pretty serious one. Everything is still looking very good right now. We could build a very prolonged top, something similar to this or this. Now let's see what Minotaur is up to. So we were longing this uptrend over here, which was very nice, reaccumulated over here, but the Algo hasn't really made any new trades here yet because the market has been going sideways. Most likely, if the price continues to go down, it might enter some new longs, or if it recovers, it will exit its existing positions over here. But the 5-minute version of the Algo has been more active as usual. You can see we sold right at the top over here, and since then we have been accumulating and lowering our average purchasing price for when the market rebounds again. Now let's get to some news. First up, we have Roswell, New Mexico, launching the world's first municipal Bitcoin strategic reserve. This bold move signals a growing acceptance of Bitcoin at the governmental level, with Roswell betting on BTC as a long-term store of value. Roswell's reserve also differs from those proposed in over 30 US states, but which have failed to be realized. For example, in accordance with the Bitcoin ethos, the reserve was established permissionlessly, and the signature establishes the city of Roswell as the world's first municipality to accept Bitcoin as a donation and to offer a tax-deductible receipt when requested, for donations exceeding a fair market value of $250. This piece of news is a game changer that could inspire other cities to follow suit. Next up, we have Morgan Stanley eyeing crypto trading. They are reportedly planning to bring spot crypto trading to their e-trade platform. This is massive for mainstream adoption, as Wall Street's heavy hitters are jumping into the crypto game now. I really dislike the banksters, but hey, at least this will give the less tech-savvy people another option to benefit from Bitcoin's growth. Finally, we have some great news related to ETF inflows and massive institutional Bitcoin accumulation in general. Apparently, Blackrock is now holding over 600,000 Bitcoins. At the heart of this shift is an 8-day inflow streak that saw US spot Bitcoin ETFs collectively absorb $3.9 billion into their holdings, according to Farsight data. In addition, MicroStrategy is planning an $84 billion raise to stack more, and even the White House is calling it a space race to accumulate BTC. Trump's backing of Senator Lummis's 1 million BTC reserve bill adds even more fuel to the fire. This is exactly what we predicted we would need for Bitcoin to stay on its power lock course. Now to the DXY. Good news, guys. We're dumping again. And this is exactly what we predicted, because we had this previous long-term support area over here, and we found resistance right at that level. And this whole area in general is a good area for determining more bullish and bearish zones for Bitcoin as well, because when we were above this level, Bitcoin was a little bit less bullish. And in general, when you look at this historically, when we start dumping below this area over here, then Bitcoin becomes quite bullish as well. Now to the M2 money shift for Bitcoin. Everything is still looking very good. We had our ascending triangle breakout, followed by a retest, followed by another pump higher, and now Bitcoin is also finally starting to catch up over here. Let's hope that remains the case. And by the way, this M2 shift here is producing what looks like a bull flag right now. So everything is also looking good on that side. Now back to the Bitcoin chart. We're still nicely above all moving averages on the daily time frame, with the 20-day moving average starting to catch up. We're also starting to see some crosses back toward the bullish setup, where the shorter term moving averages are above the longer term ones. It will take some time for the 200-day moving average to go back below the 150-day moving averages, but I do think it will happen soon. Things are looking equally promising on the weekly time frame, where we're spending our third week above the bull market 20-week moving average. We just want to avoid a scenario like these ones over here where we produce fakeouts. This doji here is not looking that great, but let's hope for a similar false alarm as this shooting star over here, which was green, which in turn made it less bearish as well. As long as we retain key support above these areas, the ball is in the bull's court, and the RSI has plenty of room to the upside. The stochastic RSI is looking very healthy with wide apart upward moving lines, and the bearish momentum on the MACD is starting to decrease. We're getting really close to a histogram flip on the weekly, which would seal the deal. By the way, guys, make sure to subscribe to my personal channel as well, where I focus more on slightly different but complementary indicators and data, and upload other types of bonus videos covering a broader spectrum of topics. Hitting the bell is also a good idea. This way you don't miss out on my updates, because YouTube does not always like to recommend the content of smaller channels. If you're interested in the Minotaur trading system, then it's a no-brainer to schedule a free consultation with the team. Also, make sure to join our free Telegram if you haven't done so already, We have a lot of interesting discussions going on there. Plus, you can also ask any questions about the Minotaur trading system over there. All of the links are in the description and in a pinned comment below. This is Saverio speaking, and as always, thanks for watching.